Yes. Good morning to you, world family. Well, today I come to you with a heavy heart because I am still struggling in relation to this election that is about to happen in probably less than 2 weeks. I am a registered Democrat, and even at this stage, I cannot see a good reason to vote for the Democratic Party. I don't see a reason to vote because what I do see is my Democratic Party, the party that I joined, is being super deceptive and downright disrespectful to my intelligence. Now, the first thing I remember when Joe Biden stepped in the race and said he is running for the soul of the nation, I figured that he understood what that meant. The soul of the nation and the preservation of democracy. But Joe Biden and his Vice President Kamala Harris, because right now she's running as if she's new to this thing. But let me remind her that she is still the Vice President of the United States and will have to take responsibility for whatever happened within the Biden administration, because her argument was to become a VP. She said, I must be the first person that you speak with, and if not the first, the last person to be spoken to, possibly before a decision is made. So clearly, if she ran as a VP and that did not happen, she has a responsibility to tell the nation and to convey that to her base. Because clearly Joe Biden's base, the base of the Democratic Party, is her base. Well, when I look at the whole situation, I was feeling good because I saw that democracy was on the chopping block. And I felt good when Joe Biden said that. And I thought he understood what he was talking about. But clearly, and he definitely would have to understand. But the first thing that Joe Biden did when he went in, he started to clear the way to create a legacy for himself and not what he went in there to do. Honestly, I can tell you, I wrote about 6 letters in an email fashion and send it to his office. And I know that his office got those letters. And I said, Mr. President, if you want to preserve democracy, this is what you do. Because the heart of the democratic process lies within the primaries. And you will have to do everything that you need to do to protect these primaries. And by that I mean, primaries should be protected from outside influences like former presidents, former Congress people that are not within that constituency should not go in that constituency and to try to change the will of the people. And that was one of the Republican strategy that was laid out by Donald Trump, a clear template that has been created to undermine the democratic process. If people are not allowed to select who they want to select, and the selection is dependent on the leadership of the Republican Party or the Democratic Party, then democracy is thrown out through the window. And so I offered my opinion and say, Mr. President, what you need to do, you need to first and foremost, before you think about your personal legacy, is to fix the democratic process, to ensure that what took place under President Trump's presidency does never ever happen again. Right. But you did not do that. And you still have not done that. Because there was a time when you could have saved, and I'm saying this, there was a time when you, Mr. President, could have saved the Republican Party. But instead what you did, you sunk the Republican Party, believing that that was the way forward. And this is the way in which you can get whatever you want. But one of the things you have not done, you have not looked into how did Donald Trump came to be so powerful within the Republican Party, so as to change the Republican Party from being a Republican Party to become a Donald Trump political party. You did not look at what caused that. You know what did that? The people are disgruntled. The people are fed up with career politicians like you, Mr. President. You're a career politician. And the people decided that they want something new. And they chose Donald Trump because he was offering a difference, a breath of fresh air to a set of people that were not being even looked at. And he brought them back into the fold. And he has stuck with those people ever since. And he's still with them. He called them his base. And he has never failed his base. And his base has never failed him. Clearly, a new paradigm within the political system. What you did, you decided that you would go off on a rampage of creating your own, setting up of your own legacy. And nothing is wrong with that. But you did not go in to set up your personal legacy, but to ensure that the democratic process prevailed. You did not do that. And the next thing that you did, you forsake your base, the people that put you in there. You did not listen to them. You did not care about them. And I'm talking about your organization, your administration. You did not care about them. You did not listen to them. And so, you have placed yourself in a precarious position where we are entering an election. And you really wanted your base support. But when your base was telling you, stop what you're doing on the international front, the war in Gaza, the war in Ukraine, you did not listen. You doubled down and you did it your way, not your base way, not the people within the party that was telling you, Mr. President, this is wrong. You cannot do this. And even until now, you double down and you still have not changed course, even to the extent that it costs you your chance of running again. And so what you did, when you realize that there is no way that you could beat Donald Trump because you're on the opposite side of your base. And make no mistake, Madam Vice President, you are a part of this too. Because you have not spoken out. In fact, you yourself doubled down on what Joe Biden's policy was about. And you said, if you go in, there's nothing that you would change. And that was just basically speaking off the cuff from your heart. And then people tell you that, oh no, you can't do this because if you do that, if you don't make changes, you're going to lose the election. And then you came back and tried to correct yourself. But the damage has been done. And I find that the Democratic Party are more deceptive than Donald Trump. Because one thing Donald Trump do, he tells you what he's doing. He doesn't hide. Therefore, man is telling you something that is wrong, and he's not hiding to tell you that, then you can't say that the man is lying. You have to find another adjective to describe what he's doing. But you, Mr. President, you have been lying to us from day one. And I will tell you, from the first time I had doubt about you is when you said that you are going to fix the Affordable Care Act and change it from Obamacare to Biden care. And I said, wow. But you did not recognize what you did because you spoke off the cuff. That was coming from your heart. So you were only about your own personal legacy and not necessarily about the country. So you look at the war in Gaza, which in my opinion is not a war. Because if the truth to be told, and if you look at the pattern over the many years between Gaza and Israel, you would know that this is a pattern that has been created out by Israel itself to diminish the Palestinians. And October 7th was no secret because the United States knew that Hamas was planning something. Israel knew that Hamas was planning something. The nations around Israel that are at peace with Israel told Israel that Hamas is planning something. But what Israel did? They said, oh no, let Hamas come. Because the more Hamas attack Israel, is the more reason it gives Israel to drive out, not Hamas, the Palestinians. And you know everything about the Palestinians. You know what is happening in the West Bank. Yet, that is never ever reported. We only report on what Hamas is doing. But what caused Hamas to be doing these things? Is it that Hamas just get up and hate Israel without a reason? Is it that the rest of the Arab world just get up and hate Israel without a reason? Mr. President, if someone was attacking your brother, I know that your blood would be boiling and you would have to go to rescue your brother. Because you know what the saying goes? Blood is thicker than water. And that is what is happening in the Middle East. Blood is thicker than water. And if somebody is abusing your family, there is no way that you could go on the side of the abuser. If you are a human being, you would have to defend your family. And in most cases, you defend your family with your life. And so this is clearly what is going on in the Middle East. Israel, every time that Palestine, the Palestinians try to defend themselves, Israel takes away more of their land. So in truth and in fact, Israel like when Hamas defend the Palestinians because it gives them a right to go into Palestine, to go into Gaza, and to demolish them. And so October 7th was no different. Netanyahu, whose leadership is hanging by a thread, who has done everything to maintain power. And the Israeli people say, you got to go. So he knows what he is supposed to do to keep him in power. And so he did not do a damn thing about October 7th. He allowed Israeli citizens to be slaughtered, to give him a reason to go after Hamas and to destroy, not Hamas, the Palestinians, because it is the Palestinians that he wants to destroy. Hamas is not a threat to him. Hamas don't have weapons. What kind of weapons Hamas firing? Hamas firing a few little missiles in the air. We give Israel patriotic batteries to stop all of these missiles from entering. Israel has the most bunkers in the world for a little country. So they are well protected. Hamas is of no threat to Israel. The greatest threat to Israel is Israel themselves, because they feel the more they defeat the Palestinians, the more they defeat the Arabs around them, is the more land that they can take and the more they can expand themselves. America knows that. You, Mr. President, you know that. And so, even before the war started, we saw what Israel was doing. They attacked a sovereign state. They attacked a consulate which supposed to be sacred under the United Nations. And you did not condemn Israel for that. You said, Mr. President, that Israel has the right to protect itself. But under the United Nations Charter, that is a war crime. You are not supposed to attack consulates, because once you do that, it is a declaration of war. You did not tell Israel that they were wrong in doing that. You did not correct them. You doubled down. After October 7th, because you know something, and I will tell you this before I forget it, those hostages are there as a sacrifice to give Netanyahu the reason to destroy the Palestinian people and to destroy the Lebanese people and to find a way to attack the major state, which is Iran. They want to attack Iran. And so, and you, Mr. President, because I remember you saying that under your watch, Iran will never, ever acquire the nuclear bomb. So you will do any and everything to prevent Iran to have a nuclear bomb. And when you say any and everything, it also means to the detriment of the American people. Because what you don't realize, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. And we see the equal and opposite reaction playing out. Because we see a group of nations having their own summit. They are all armed with nuclear bombs. And you know that once a country acquire nuclear, you have to leave them alone. Yes, you can destroy them, but they can also destroy you. And you are endangering millions of lives. One nuclear bomb can decimate a whole state. Look how many lives that will be lost because of what you are doing, your provocation, and what you're doing with the United Nations. The United Nations was a positive that came out of two negative, and all you had to do is balance it with a positive. Instead, you put yourself as a negative. You look at the war today, you look at the massacre today, because that's not a war. Because it's the only one side that is firing. And they're firing dangerous weapons. You see what I'm saying, Mr. President? And you have not spoken out against the deaths of all those NGOs that went in to help humanity and to prevent humanitarian suffering. You have not done a damn thing about it. You look at this war, we have seen more media personalities dying from bombs and gunshots than we have seen in the entire wars combined. And you say nothing about it. We see the starving of innocent civilians, and you don't do anything about it. Instead, what you do is you ratchet down on the side of Israel, and you give them more money, and you give them more ammunition. So what you're actually saying is you are prepared to destroy Iran, even if it means destroying the world. Because nuclear bomb, and I will tell you this, no nation who is in them right frame of mind, whether you want to be a dictator, yes or no, would not just get up and fire a nuclear bomb like that. Yes, nuclear bomb was fired, and was fired by one country and one country only, and we saw the devastation of that. Even today, people are suffering as a result of those two nuclear bombs. So everybody know. But what you're saying and what you're doing, your policy, your foreign policy is saying to every nation, if you don't acquire nuclear, we will stop you, we will bomb you. But the moment you get nuclear, we leave you alone. So what happens now? You will see the proliferation of every country who do not want to be bombed by us or be bombed by Israel will do everything to acquire nuclear. The countries that have nuclear, that are against us, will help these countries to acquire nuclear. And sooner than later, that will be our greatest doom. Mr. President, you are dangerous. What you are doing in Ukraine is dangerous. because you force the Ukrainians to go out there and fight the Russians, a superpower that is firing ballistic missiles into Ukraine and decimating the entire Ukraine. And you are preventing the Ukrainians from firing onto Russian soil. Are you in your right frame of mind? Are you just forcing Ukrainians to go out there and to die for you so that you can get your wish and strengthen your legacy? But you know what your legacy will be? Your legacy will be World War III. That's what your legacy will be. Because you're provoking World War III. And I really wonder if you can finish out your term. If the American people should allow you to finish out until January. Because by January, with your conduct, we might not have a world to live in. And so, when I look at Madam Vice President Kamala Harris, she is your vice president. She is running now as if she is somebody that is new and don't know anything about your administration. She is running and trying to show what Donald Trump is doing, how Donald Trump cannot be a commander-in-chief. But one thing I can tell you, and is this, and I am going to leave you with this, is that the stone that the builder refused will become the head cornerstone. And to prevent World War III, the best person to prevent a World War III war is Donald Trump. Because when you were criticizing Donald Trump of forging a relationship with those despots, he didn't listen to you. He went ahead. And right now, the only American president that Kim Jong-un, Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping, and many others will listen to right now is a Donald Trump. They will not listen to Kamala Harris. Nobody will take her serious because she's part of the problem and cannot be the solution. And Joe Biden knows this. And to ensure that he gets his legacy, what he did, he dumped Kamala Harris on the Democratic Party, gave her all his delegates and pushed her over the edge before it had even started. And so there was no point in anybody trying to oppose her. And Joe Biden got his way again. So this is no secret what is happening. And this is why I, as a Democratic person who is a member of the Democratic Party, will not vote for the Democratic Party. And I will not vote for Kamala Harris. And if I vote, I will only vote for a writing candidate. But I cannot vote for Joe Biden, because voting for Kamala Harris means voting for Joe Biden. And that's the way I see it. I have not voted yet. And I know that I am not going to vote for the Democratic candidate for president. I have not made up my mind to vote for the Republican, because there are things that is happening within the Republican Party with people around Trump that I don't like, and I'm not going to vote for that. But equally, I will tell you, I will not vote for Kamala Harris. I will write in my ballot for a candidate, and that's the way I see it.